my haters did something up to me today. So you know the whole halter top drama that did not have to be a drama? I was literally just asking the girlies if anyone had a shirt I could borrow.
It's giving main character syndrome, babe. You're not actually the center of the universe. Well, I am human, and I do once in a while make a mistake. That, plus an entitled influencer who is getting roasted by the internet for the most deserved reason imaginable. All this and so much more is coming up in today's quicker episode of the Brad vs. Everyone podcast, where we take on the craziest stories from across the internet and social media, all from an independent political perspective. I'm taking the afternoon off to spend some time with my mother while she's here visiting in Miami. So we're just going to do a quick episode touching on one story that I kept wanting to talk about because I find it hilarious. Maybe you guys will be like, why even bothering talking about this? It's dumb, whatever, but it's super viral on TikTok and I find it funny. So we're going to dissect it. First, though, I do want to make a correction. Yesterday, when I was talking about the tragic shooting between an ICE officer and an American woman in Minnesota, I said something that was factually incorrect in my discussion. I said that the officers had approached the car with their guns drawn. That's not true. They did not approach the car with their guns drawn. The officer drew his gun only as she was accelerating in the vehicle. Now, I apologize for that error. I really do. I try really hard to get my shit straight and have all my facts in order. I don't have a team. I don't have producers writing scripts for me or fact-checking things for me. I'm doing it all myself. So I am human and mistakes will happen. I do apologize for that mistake. However, I will say that my actual bigger points I don't necessarily think are affected by that misunderstanding. I still think we need more facts, more investigation, objective analysis of this to decide ultimately whether all the shots were lawful. And I do still stand by the idea that the left-wing politicians, the AOCs, and the Trump tweets and the Kristi Noem posts, all of it, they are making things worse, not better. I stand by that unequivocally. And I don't really think my misrecollection of one part of the story changes those big picture takeaways, but I did want to own the mistake because that's what I always tell other people to do, and I try to live by that myself. So thank you to people who pointed it out, and I hope that you can be understanding with me over that mistake. Now, on to our story for today, which is thankfully lighter and more funny and a little less serious, a little less deep. There's an influencer. I never heard of her, but she has millions of followers on TikTok. She's kind of a big deal. Tara's World. And she is getting roasted right now and doubling down and tripling down and quadrupling down on it. She apparently gives 0 Fs over this crazy story where she asked her followers to give her free stuff, even though she's presumably very affluent. And then one of them wasn't able to, and she got mad at them. We're going to watch a video by somebody explaining the situation, and I will pepper in my commentary as we go along. Let's watch.
2025 ended with people saying that influencers are way out of touch, but is 2026 starting out the exact same way? If you've not been following along, this is Tara's World, and
spoiler alert, yes, it is. And influencers are going to keep getting even more out of touch.
And she is involved in some drama with a potential fan/hater, in her words. This is all over a New Year's Eve halter top that Tara was requesting from her followers.
All right, apparently, for the men in the audience, a halter top is an item of clothing. Girls, maybe y'all knew this. I don't know what those words mean, but I was educated during this, studying this big story, this breaking news. I did learn that's what a halter top is.
To see if anybody had them so that she could use it for New Year's Eve. Now, she wasn't going to pay anyone. She just simply wanted to borrow it and then would send it back after New Year's. So someone actually came forward and said, actually, I have this shirt. And this is from Tara's perspective on how that entire thing went down.
One of my haters did something up to me today. So you know the whole halter top drama that did not have to be a drama? I was literally just asking the girlies if anyone had a shirt I could borrow. I consider like my audience my friends. I wouldn't make TikToks if I didn't consider y'all friends. So I made a video. I was like, does anyone have this like specific shirt that they could like let me borrow just for a night and then I'll send it back to you? And a couple people were like, oh, I have it. And I was like, oh, great. Like, can I please borrow it? I'll take such great care of it. I'll give it back to you right after New Year's Eve. And they were like, yeah, for $2,000. I was like, all right, I'm not playing this game. They were trying to.
All right. So many problems with this. I already don't know where to begin. But why are you considering your followers, people you've never met, your friends? I love y'all who watch my videos. But if we've literally never met and I don't know your name, I can't say that you're my friend. And I could say that I think you have really good taste in podcasts. that you must have a really good sense of humor because you follow obviously me and my jokes and my insight, but I can't say that we're friends when we've literally never met and I don't know your name or what you look like. And she's feeding a parasocial relationship that she's exploiting, but then also to say one of my haters, by which she's referring to a fan who tried to help her and then was ultimately not able to, did something effed up to me, is just dramatic beyond belief and not an honest framing of what happened here. Guys, this story actually gets a lot crazier, and we haven't even really gotten to the twists and turns of it all, but I did just want to say briefly, please make sure you're subscribed if you aren't yet. Hit the like button as we go along to help more people find my videos, and if you're able to, do consider becoming a channel member. You'll unlock early access to ad-free, full-length episodes of the Brad vs. Everyone podcast, and it's really the #1 way to help support my content, help me call out BS on the left and right, and not have to pander to the YouTube algorithm, which really does reward people who exclusively punch left or exclusively punch right, build up these big followings. I'm trying to make an independent go of it, and the more of you that become members, the more I'll be able to do that. Now, without further ado, let's get back to Miss Tara's world here and her hater that did her so dirty, apparently.
They were trying to use me for money. I was like, okay, that's not worth it. I'm just going to go to the mall and find a shirt there. So I planned on going to the mall today, but I got a DM late last night, like, hey, I have that shirt. Like, you can borrow it. I was like, oh my God, really? Like, I will take such good care of it. I'll send it right back to you after New Year's Eve. Like, she lived in the valley. She was going to Uber package it to me. We were chatting for a while. She seemed so nice. So today I did not go to the mall because I was like, she's Uber packaging me the shirt. Didn't go to the mall today. I was completely relying on her. She ghosted me. She was playing the long game. She was like pretending like she like loved me so that I wouldn't go to the mall and like find a shirt. And then she like ghosted me. I'm honestly like right on. If I hated someone that much, I wouldn't be able to like pretend like I loved them for as long as she did.
Now things got really intense because
So she is claiming that this person is like a deep, covert op hater who actually went through the process of pretending to be her fan, convincing her she was going to send the top and then never did, all to mess with her. It's giving main character syndrome, babe. You're not actually the center of the universe, and it's not impossible. You can never say never when it comes to crazy people on the internet, but it certainly seems unlikely to me that somebody would actually take the time out of their day to do that. More realistically, she might have gotten busy, stuff might have went down, life happens, life comes at you quick, but she jumped to assume this was some grand conspiracy against her because of course she did, because these people really do think they're the main character of the universe, and it's so obnoxious. Also, like, were you not going to reimburse her for the shipping? Like, you're literally an influencer who makes lots of money, and these are random fans probably struggling to get by because life is crazy expensive. And the idea that I'm not going to pay them. Buy yourself a shirt. Why are you having fans mail you clothing items? Maybe it's just because I'm not a woman. I can't relate to this sisterhood of the traveling halter top thing she's got going on here. But it's like, buy your own clothes, girl. What are you talking about? It's not like you are struggling to get by and need support. Just buy your own shirt. I don't know. Crazy to me. And also, all of this is just her wanting to wear a specific top on New Year's Eve. And it turned into a multi-part video series from her that has tens of millions of views. It's just a shirt. No one else cares. I mean, maybe that's my man perspective showing, but like, I wouldn't have known. If I go to a New Year's Eve party and women are wearing different shirts, a halter top, whatever the heck, it makes no difference to me. And I'm sure you have lots of nice, lovely shirts, but I'm so sorry you were traumatized like this.
Because the person who said that she was going to lend the shirt to Tara actually made a comment, and it said, "Hi everyone, it's me. I am so sorry. I am a nurse and there's so many sicknesses going around and it was so short staffed. I had to stay overtime. I just got off and it's 3 a.m. I have apologized to Tara. There were many patients in the emergency room tonight. I'm not a hater. I still do love her content." To which Tara replied, "If you knew you were going to be working, you shouldn't have offered, or you could have told me that so we could have worked around it. Like, respectfully, give me a break."
Oh my goodness. Now, I want to, spoiler alert, there are accusations that the woman isn't actually a nurse and that this story that she came up with isn't true. And I actually can't get to the veracity of that ultimately. But what we can go off of is this influencer's response to she didn't get the top she was having fans send her for free, delivered to her on time for New Year's Eve. God forbid, how you ever going to recover from such an ordeal, right? This woman explains, and in this instance, Tara believed her. Now we don't know if that's actually true, but she believed her. And she replied, if you knew you were going to be working, you shouldn't have offered. Or you could have told me so we could have worked around it. Respectfully, give me a break. Oh my God, you're really out here dogging on this nurse that you believe to be a nurse who didn't get you your top. Do you have any idea? Does this woman have any idea how obnoxious and entitled that is? And how real people have real freaking problems? And you're shaming this nurse because she didn't get you your freaking halter top in time for New Year's Eve. It's like this story is just the most perfect microcosm of how out of touch you can be when you are affluent and hyper online, and you live in, I don't know, LA or another big metro area where all your friends are like other rich people who don't have real jobs and just take photos of themselves eating stuff they get comped. It's like so easy to become so out of touch. You hear this occasionally, more in my traditional world in like cable news from some of these hosts that are making $11 million a year and just you clearly have lost touch with the average person. I don't claim to be Mr. Everyman or a struggling member of the working poor. I am not, but I'm at least closer to reality than any of these people. Geez Louise. And I would at least have the audacity or not have the audacity to reply like this to some person who tried to help me, then gave me a very good reason, a very good excuse as far as excuses are concerned as to why they were unable to. But let's watch more.
Well, people did not appreciate this type of response, especially to a healthcare worker. So this creator actually shared her DMs that she had shared with Tara. You can pause to read everything that they had to say back and forth. But it really didn't stop there because Tara was still acting very upset by this. Then make another video saying, y'all, it's a halter top, it's not that deep. If your friend told you not to worry about going to the mall because they have a shirt you can borrow for a party, then they randomly never answered you about the shirt the night of the party, you would also be annoyed. It's not that deep. Obviously, it was just annoying.
Okay, but this girl's not your friend. Also, again, maybe this is my man brain not being able to relate to women, but if like my friend told me, if Clarkson told me I could borrow a shirt, not sure why I wouldn't wear one of my own shirts, but let's just go with this hypothetical, and then ended up getting busy with something important and wasn't able to deliver me the free shirt, I wouldn't get mad at him. I'd be like, oh, I'm sorry you had a crazy day at work. That sucks. Don't worry about it. And I certainly wouldn't go on the internet and blast him. But more importantly, this isn't even your friend. This is a random stranger who you have a parasocial relationship with that you're exploiting to get them to give you free shit. And then because real life happens for people whose jobs aren't professional yappers and professional victims, like this TikToker apparently, was unable to do it, and you had the audacity to claim a hater did something effed up to you. My gosh, these people are insufferable.
Okay, move on. Now, one thing I want to note is I think it's personally very strange to keep calling these people who are just following your account friends. I think that was mistake number one. And I feel like you're putting a lot of faith in a random account. People were leaving comments. I was on your side until you told the ER nurse to give you a break. Wait, but you were literally the one that made it the most. Sure, I'd be annoyed, but not enough to send my 5 million followers after an ER nurse because she was late replying. To all the nurses out there working, thank you. One of my haters, and it's a nurse who was stuck at a hospital due to an emergency. Out of touch, final boss. So then she makes
I'm sorry, we gotta talk about that. She actually said one of my haters, and she believed it to be an ER nurse who was stuck at work due to emergencies. Like, is this rage bait? That's the alternative here, because sometimes these content creators intentionally act outrageous or say inflammatory things because they know it will go viral. But I actually, watching this video, I don't get rage bait vibes. I think she might actually be this Delulu. And that's like dangerous. Like she needs to get that checked out. Now, as you'll hear, some people are questioning whether this person is even a real nurse. But regardless, the influencer believed her to be and still said all of this stuff. So that's still diabolical.
So then she makes another follow-up video basically saying that the internet is completely crazy. She explains herself again that she did not feel like it was fair, that she kind of led her along, that she was going to get this halter top, and she thought it was messed up. And again, reference to the friend. If a friend did this to you, you know, you would be really upset. And also went on to say this.
My girl takes shit way too fucking seriously. Even the girl that was supposed to give me the halter top, she like made this like declaration. She was like, I'm taking a step back and I will be like logging out of TikTok. I'm like, girl, what? Like, what are we talking?
So again, goes on.
Oh my gosh, some of y'all take this too seriously. as you're in part 10 or whatever of your series about the halter top you didn't get. Girl. Seriously. And then, yeah, actually, I bet this person was flooded with hate and harassment to an extent that a normal person who doesn't do what we do and isn't used to people messaging you nasty things or harassing you might panic and take a step away from social media. That's actually not dramatic at all. That's understandable human response to being spotlit and called out by someone with millions of followers and the inevitable wave of harassment that, listen, I can handle, I don't care, because I've chosen to step in the public eye and put myself out there as an online voice. But a random person who's suddenly getting dozens or hundreds of nasty messages, yeah, that's going to be a rough experience for them. That's not crazy at all, actually. And that's not them being dramatic. And the audacity of you to ever call anyone dramatic in your entire life, babe, is ridiculous. Never again. Delete that word from your vocabulary because you're just a hypocrite beyond belief.
Goes on to say that everybody else is taking this way out of proportion and they're taking it way too seriously, but at the same time, it didn't stop after the first video. She made so many videos herself that it's like, wait, are you gaslighting us? Because did you take it
Yes.
too seriously, or are you taking it too seriously? Maybe you should have just had a backup plan for your top because you were trusting a literal stranger. And not even too long ago this evening, she actually posted another video sharing the shirt because people were like, can we at least see the top that we're referencing? It is a $239 top that, again, she was expecting this girl to send for free for her to just wear for New Year's Eve. Now, she goes on to state that the woman who offered the shirt did make this declaration on how she was leaving, and these are the screenshots that she has on her page. You can pause to read. There is a lot. She explains the timeline of everything. Again, you can pause to read this. And then she did leave this final message. I will be leaving social media after this. I'm not an influencer. I have this account in 2020 and barely use TikTok. Be kind to healthcare workers. Be kind to people in general. Not everything is content. Now, what I will say is that I feel like Tara, with 5 million followers, is failing to realize that when you call someone out like this, especially over something that you're saying is not that big of a deal or it's not that serious, you are going to have diehard fans who are going to attack these people. And if this person really did something that you do not believe was that big of a deal, it just annoyed you, it frustrated you, that's something that you take up with your friends or your mom on the phone. Not something that you come to the internet and then it brings people to harass this person over.
This is a really good point because a lot of times people post things on TikTok in particular. That's like the number one platform for this, where it's like, dude, this should have been a phone call with your mom. Same way, like, not everything has to be content. And I understand you'll make money and call attention to yourself by doing this, Tara, but like, there are more important things in this world than that. I know that's a crazy concept for some of these influencers, but there actually are. Well, let's just watch the rest of this. She's about to wrap up here.
For a shirt that they were literally going to lend to you for free. You aren't owed anything. And that is why I started the video asking, are we starting the year off with more influencers being out of touch with reality? But I want to hear what you guys think. Is Tara wrong? Is the girl who was a nurse who was hung up at work wrong? Do you think that the account is even real? Could this be a setup and it's just to bring out a little bit of drama and get people talking? I don't know. I say everything's out on the table, but I want to hear what you guys think. Drop your thoughts with me down in the comments.
Wow, huh. I'm gonna have to think about that one for a minute, guys. Who do I side with here in this intergalactic struggle over a halter top? I still don't really understand what that is. But no, look, I will say I've seen other videos and people saying like this girl was lying about being a nurse. This account is fake. There's something not adding up about her story. Whatever. Doesn't matter to me, actually, because Tara believed it to be true and we can see how she responded. And she's the public figure with 5 million followers, not this random person who I do not feel the need to like inspect their digital footprint to see if their story adds up. We know that they presented the story to Tara, who then took it at face value and responded in a way we can judge, even if some details about the underlying story aren't necessarily true or correct or verifiable. So I don't really care about that, though that is being pointed out. But part of the reason I love this story is because like the internet, all left wing, right wing, whatever, and non-political people have all been able to rally together and say that this woman is in the wrong, Tara. And there also been some really hilarious mockeries of her. Let's watch this one skit that somebody put up making fun of her that I really got a kick out of.
Hey guys, I'm an influencer that has 5.2 million followers and I make $35,000 a month, and I make that money by basically sitting around and doing nothing and complaining about the house with a $25K monthly mortgage that I have to sell. Anyways, a few nights ago on New Year's Eve, I wanted to wear this cute halters top to a New Year's Eve party, but I didn't have one. And I didn't want to go to the mall because I'm too lazy, even though I don't have a job. So I reached out to my followers, who I consider my friends who I've never met in real life, and I asked them, I said, hey, would any of you have a halters top that I could borrow for a New Year's Eve party? And one of them messaged me back and said yes. So I messaged her, we exchanged details. I then came to find out that she's a nurse, and that the night of the New Year's Eve party, she was actually going into open heart surgery. So she didn't respond to me for 8 hours, and I didn't get my halters top. And instead of having a normal human reaction, I decided to blast her on the internet and tell all of my followers to feel bad for me. I make $35,000 a month, by the way.
Now, obviously, that is like a satire skit, so he's not literally verbatim describing the situation here, but he's poking fun at it all, and I totally understand why. It is ridiculous, and the internet really has rewarded mediocrity in some of the worst people, and then created these out-of-touch bubbles where they just completely lose touch with normal people and the state of affairs in this country, and it results in diabolically entitled and absurd situations like this. I really do believe we have an entitlement epidemic in this country in so many ways. And so to see somebody called out and pegged back over their insane entitlement like this was a little bit heartening to me. But more than anything, the story was just funny. Anyway, guys, I thought we could all use a little bit of levity, so I wanted to go over that story with you guys. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Make sure you're subscribed if you aren't yet. Hit the like button while you're at it, and please do consider becoming a channel member if you haven't yet. It's the best way to support my content and help me stay truly independent. With that, guys, that'll be it for today's episode of the Brad vs. Everyone podcast. Thanks so much for listening, and we'll talk again real soon.